Have you ever looked at the world around you and felt that something wasn't quite right? A lingering sense that there's more to reality than what we can see, touch, or hear. What if the material world we inhabit is not a perfect creation, but a flawed, even hostile prison? And what if the key to escaping this prison lies not in external salvation, but in a secret knowledge hidden deep within ourselves? Welcome to a journey into one of history's most mysterious and misunderstood spiritual movements, Gnosticism. In a world dominated by mainstream religions, the Gnostics dared to ask radical questions about the nature of God, humanity, and the universe. They proposed a startlingly different cosmology, one where the supreme, true God is utterly transcendent and unknowable, completely separate from the flawed creator of our physical world. They believe that humanity's true essence is a divine spark, a fragment of the ultimate God, trapped within a material body. Gnosticism is not a single, unified religion, but a collection of diverse beliefs that flourished in the early centuries of the Common Era, alongside and often in direct conflict with early Christianity. The word Gnosticism itself comes from the Greek word Gnosis, which means knowledge. But this wasn't just any knowledge. It was a deeply personal, intuitive, and saving knowledge, a spiritual awakening that promised liberation from the chains of this world. In this video, we'll peel back the layers of this fascinating belief system. We'll explore the radical Gnostic cosmology. How did they see the universe and its creation? The concept of the Demiurge. Who is this flawed creator? And why did he build our world? The divine spark within. What is our true divine nature, and how do we awaken it? The fate of Gnosticism. Why was it a threat to mainstream religion, and what happened to its followers? Join us as we dive deep into the secrets of the Gnostics and discover why their ancient ideas still resonate so powerfully today. Get ready to challenge your perceptions of reality and explore a path to salvation unlike any you've ever heard before. To truly understand Gnosticism, we first need to shed our preconceptions. This is not a religion in the traditional sense, with a central authority, a fixed set of doctrines, or a universal creed. It's not a rigid ideology or a simple school of thought. Gnosticism is, at its core, a radical intuition, a spiritual stirring that begins not with faith, but with doubt. It looks beyond the absolute truths proclaimed in holy scriptures and instead seeks the hidden meanings, the whispered secrets, and the profound silences that lie between the lines. The Gnostics emerged in the early centuries of the Common Era, a time of immense spiritual and intellectual ferment. As early Christianity was taking shape, a diverse array of spiritual groups and thinkers flourished across the Middle East. While they often used Christian terminology, their beliefs were startlingly different from those of the emerging Orthodox Church. They didn't see Jesus as the Son of God who came to die for humanity's sins. Instead, they saw him as a bringer of light, a revealer of forgotten truths. For them, Jesus wasn't a savior, he was a reminder, a gentle voice whispering to the soul, prompting it to recall its divine origin and its true, essential nature. The saving knowledge they sought, the Gnosis, could only be attained through an inner awakening, a personal revelation that transcended all external rituals and dogmas. This deeply personal and subversive view put them on a collision course with the institutional church. The Gnostics were a minority, a small but vibrant group who resisted the rigid structures and dogmatic pronouncements of organized religion. They argued that dogmas were for the masses, for those who needed clear rules and a defined path. Their way was different. It was individual, esoteric, and profoundly challenging. And for this, they were often scorned, silenced, and persecuted throughout the centuries. But Gnosticism did not arise from Christianity alone. It was a rich tapestry woven from many threads of ancient wisdom. In its veins flowed the logic of Greek philosophy, especially the teachings of Plato, with his ideas of perfect, eternal forms existing beyond our flawed material world. It was influenced by the mystical traditions of Egyptian mysteries and the Hermetic teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, and perhaps most powerfully, it was shaped by the ancient Persian religion of Zoroastrianism, with its dramatic cosmology of a constant, epic struggle between the forces of light and darkness. Around 2,000 years ago, in the intellectually vibrant and complex cultural landscape of the ancient Middle East, these distinct spiritual streams converged and fused together. The result was a radical worldview that denigrated matter, longed for a higher spiritual existence, and believed that secret knowledge held the key to ultimate liberation. This spiritual wisdom was eventually committed to writing. However, these texts were condemned as heresy by the early church, which sought to destroy them entirely, but some managed to survive. In 1945, a serendipitous discovery in the Egyptian desert of Nag Hammadi brought them to light. A collection of 13 leather-bound papyrus codices, buried for millennia, carried the hushed whispers of these ancient beliefs. They contained secret sayings of Jesus, scenes not found in the official Gospels, and a completely different account of creation. These were not just historical documents for scholars to decipher, they were spiritual maps for those searching for their soul. They were not focused on the external world, but on the internal landscape of the self. They didn't point toward a distant, supreme God, but toward a forgotten fragment of the divine spark, hidden deep within the human spirit. To understand these ancient texts today is more than a historical exercise. It's an invitation to ask the same profound questions the Gnostics did. Who am I, and why does this world exist? The very essence of Gnosticism begins with a radical rejection of the world as we know it. To the Gnostics, the universe isn't a beautiful, harmonious creation. It's a cosmic mistake, a profound corruption, the result of a great cosmic disaster. It isn't the fruit of a divine plan or a testament to an orderly cosmos. On the contrary, the Gnostics saw the material world as an elaborate illusion, a prison designed to trap the spirit within the confines of matter. At the heart of this worldview lies the most crucial concept, Gnosis, which translates to knowledge, but it's a knowledge unlike any other. This is not information you can learn from a book, hear in a sermon, or acquire through external teachings. Instead, Gnosis is an internal awakening, an intuitive realization that cuts through all false beliefs about ourselves and our existence. It's a moment of profound spiritual clarity that forces us to remember the divine spark, a fragment of the ultimate God that resides within us all. According to the Gnostics, this is our true essence, a piece of light that has fallen from a higher realm and is now desperately seeking the truth it has long forgotten in this world. This leads us to another fundamental concept, dualism. The Gnostic universe is defined by two opposing forces, light and darkness, spirit and matter, knowledge and ignorance, the divine and the counterfeit. This stark, dualistic structure is key to understanding their cosmology. The material world, our world, is not the creation of the true supreme God. Instead, it is the product of a lesser, flawed being whom the Gnostics called the Demiurge. The Demiurge, from the Greek for craftsman or public worker, is a central and fascinating figure in Gnostic thought. He is the false god, a powerful but arrogant entity who created the universe out of his own ignorance and pride. He believes himself to be the one and only God, blind to the existence of the higher, truer reality from which he himself originated. The Gnostics viewed his material creation as utterly alien and even hostile to the spiritual realm. The physical body, with all its desires and limitations, is a prison constructed by the Demiurge to hold the divine spark captive. In contrast, the true God exists in a realm entirely separate from this flawed creation. This higher dimension, a place of pure light and wholeness, is known as the pleroma. It is a boundless existence, a space of infinite consciousness. The ultimate goal of humanity, according to the Gnostics, is to return to this realm. But this return is not possible through traditional worship, blind faith, or adherence to religious laws. Salvation can only be achieved through Gnosis, by the Spirit's act of remembering its divine origin and turning toward it. This understanding of salvation is what so radically separates Gnosticism from nearly every other belief system. In this profound framework, humanity is not a passive creation. On the contrary, we represent a kind of internal rebellion against the fraudulent structure of the universe. We are consciousness trapped within the false God's creation, but we do not truly belong to it. And every genuine spiritual awakening begins when this consciousness recognizes the lies of the Demiurge and the illusion of the material world. Ultimately, for the Gnostics, salvation isn't a reward for good behavior, it's an act of remembering. Heaven isn't a future promise, it's a forgotten reality from our past. And our purpose in this world isn't to figure out who we are, but to remember what we are, beings of light, fallen into a place of shadow. Traditional religious teachings often present a creation story where a benevolent God consciously and deliberately crafts the universe with a divine purpose, and everything within it is part of an orderly, beautiful plan. But for the Gnostics, this narrative is merely an attempt to legitimize a fundamentally flawed universe. They argued that the cosmos wasn't born from goodness, it was born from a cosmic error, a corruption. The true God, the ultimate creative consciousness residing in the endless light of the pleroma, did not create this world. He is utterly beyond it, existing as a pure, unknowable fullness that transcends time, matter, and form. This God is nameless and undefinable. He never speaks directly or acts with a specific will in the way we understand it. Instead, he generates existence through a process of emanations, overflowing from his essence to produce other spiritual beings. These emanations are called eons. Each eon is a spiritual being full of light, representing a different aspect of the true God. They are often born in pairs: wisdom and understanding, power and justice, love and truth. In this celestial arrangement, everything exists in perfect harmony, a cosmic balance of light and consciousness. But this perfect harmony was broken by a single tragic event. One of the eons, Sophia, meaning wisdom, became driven by a powerful desire to create something on her own, without the will or guidance of the true God. This solitary act of creation, this impulsive striving for independence, gave birth to an aberration that disrupted the pleroma's balance: the Demiurge. The Demiurge is a flawed, ignorant, and arrogant being born from Sophia's fall. He knows nothing of the pleroma or its perfect order, yet he possesses immense creative power. And it is this being, this false God, who forges the universe in which we live. The Demiurge's creation is not an original work of divine artistry. It is a dark, distorted reflection of the pleroma. This world is a product of his ignorance and hubris, a cosmic mistake rather than a sacred design. Concepts like law, order, and authority don't represent the will of the true God. They embody the Demiurge's desperate need for control and validation. The ultimate act of deception comes when this false God declares himself the true one. In Gnostic texts, his infamous proclamation, "I am God, and there is no other God besides me," is a symbol of his deceit and colossal ignorance. The Gnostics believed the true God could never possess such petty arrogance. The true God doesn't seek validation or show himself off because his very existence is beyond all form. The Demiurge, in contrast, demands worship and obedience because he is incomplete. After the universe was created, fragments of Sophia's light became scattered and trapped within the material world. Humanity became the bearer of this fallen light, with the soul imprisoned within a physical body. The spirit became tangled with matter, and humanity forgot who it was, where it came from, and to whom it truly belonged. This state of forgetting is not a sin in the Gnostic worldview. It is ignorance. Ignorance is far more dangerous than sin because it causes humans to accept the false god's order as legitimate. It makes them believe that earthly authorities are holy, wars are just, and suffering is natural. But the Gnostics teach us a different lesson. Nothing is as it appears. No structure is truly divine, and no true God would ever need to impose his will. This is why the Gnostic goal isn't to be a believer, it is to be awake. They don't seek to believe in God, they seek to discern God, to separate the real from the fake, the light from the shadow, the creator from the copy. Because every soul will eventually return to its source. But that return is only possible for those who are brave enough to see past the false light and find the way home. In the Gnostic worldview, salvation is not an external gift or a divine act of forgiveness granted by a benevolent God. It's not something you earn through good deeds or a final judgment. Instead, it is the result of an internal awakening, a process of self-knowledge and remembrance. The Gnostic soul yearns to escape the prison of the body and the material world, but this liberation isn't achieved through faith alone. It is possible only through a deep, personal, and transformative knowledge, Gnosis. To the Gnostics, humanity is a divine treasure that has forgotten its true nature and gotten lost in the chaotic material universe. But to grasp the soul's existence and its real origin, it must individually and carefully unravel the layers of this spiritual amnesia. This unraveling process begins when the individual recognizes the light within themselves. This knowledge is not learned from external sources or religious texts. It is a type of intuitive understanding that communicates directly with the soul itself. This form of knowledge is far beyond ordinary religious rituals and dogmatic beliefs. The Gnostics believed that the rules and ceremonies offered by church authorities were actually hindrances to the soul's genuine awakening. For them, what was sacred was not the external ritual, but the individual's experience. The essential journey was for a person to recognize the divine essence within themselves and begin their own personal path toward liberation. In this spiritual process, the soul must first see its own darkness and then confront it. The mind breaks the chains of ignorance and grasps true knowledge. This knowledge isn't just personal, it's also universal, because every single soul is a fragment broken off from the pleroma, and it is destined to return to it. Gnostic texts are full of symbolic descriptions of this journey. The soul's ascent from below to above, from darkness to light, from ignorance to knowledge. On this path, the soul passes through many realms, overcomes various obstacles, and ultimately merges with the realm of pure light. Salvation is the moment of this unification, but this union is not a permanent state. A person can fall, get lost, and be deceived by illusions throughout their journey. For the Gnostics, salvation isn't a fixed status, but a continuous state of wakefulness. Because of this, Gnosticism is better understood not as a faith in the modern sense, but as a philosophy of knowledge or a mystical experience. And this mystical experience is only possible by the person remembering the God within themselves and descending into the depths of their own being. In the end, the Gnostics tell us this: don't be fooled by the appearance of the world and the divine order it seems to have. True reality is connected to what is unseen and internal. And salvation is about finding that knowledge, living that knowledge, and breaking the chains that bind the soul. Gnosticism, a spiritual current that once seemed relegated to the dusty shelves of antiquity, has found a new and vibrant life in the modern era's most complex and diverse philosophical systems. In our fast-paced world, many individuals are beginning to question their perception of reality, seeking to transcend the material world and search for truth in the depths of their own consciousness. At the very heart of this modern quest, the core tenets of Gnostic thought resonate profoundly. You can see Gnostic themes everywhere in popular culture, especially in film and literature. The Matrix franchise, for example, is not just a technological dystopia, it's a powerful Gnostic allegory. The world we see is an illusion, a prison built by a false creator. The protagonist is the chosen one, who awakens from this artificial world, grasps the secret knowledge, and attains freedom. This narrative mirrors the Gnostics' ancient story of a soul escaping its cosmic prison almost perfectly. Beyond pop culture, Gnostic teachings have also deeply influenced New Age movements and modern spiritual currents. The concepts of inner spiritual awakening, the expansion of individual consciousness, and the cosmic themes of light and darkness are central motifs in these movements. However, because Gnosticism stands so firmly against dogmatic structures, it often finds itself oversimplified and misrepresented in these popular contexts, losing some of its profound philosophical depth. From a philosophical perspective, Gnosticism's influence has echoed through fields like postmodern thought and critical theory. The idea that reality is relative, that sources of authority and knowledge should be questioned, and that one should be suspicious of mainstream belief systems, all run parallel to Gnostic thinking. In this sense, Gnosticism can be seen as an alternative epistemology, arguing that truth isn't found exclusively in official narratives, but also in hidden, personal, and transformative experiences. However, Gnosticism in the modern world is sometimes misunderstood, becoming the foundation for popular conspiracy theories. The figure of the Demiurge has been used as a metaphor for governments, systems, and institutions, often becoming the focus of the secret powers narrative. This misinterpretation can overshadow the profound philosophical meaning of the Gnostic teachings, leading to a superficial and sometimes manipulative interpretation. Despite this, Gnosticism is still very much alive today and plays an important role in modern humanity's existential questions. It is not just a historical doctrine. It is an ongoing journey in humanity's quest to understand the self, the universe, and God. And this journey is a timeless symbol of knowledge, awakening, and freedom. Is this world as real as it seems, or does it only exist in the way we are meant to see it? Every structure we accept, every authority we obey, every value we hold dear, are they truly a reflection of a light-filled truth? Or are they a veil woven to cover our ignorance? The Gnostics didn't found a new religion. They didn't build a temple, make grand promises, or condemn sinners. They simply whispered a single, profound message. Wake up. And remember what is real. Perhaps their true message was a timeless echo, reverberating across centuries and belief systems. Everything you think you know might be a lie, and the God you're searching for is never found outside of yourself. Today, thousands of years later, we still find ourselves grappling with the same questions. Who am I? Why does this universe exist? Why does suffering prevail? And in all this fragmentation, why is my soul so restless? The Gnostics would say, it's because the light within you wants to remember itself. It's because this world isn't where you belong. It's because you fell from a place you've forgotten. And now, It's time to call that light back, to hear that knowledge once more, and to reject what is false. Faith might bring you comfort, but knowledge will set you free. Gnosis will awaken you, and once you're awake, there's no going back. As the Gnostics believed, those who are born in darkness must learn to remember the light. If this video has sparked something within you, if you feel a connection to these ancient ideas, then the journey has only just begun. The pursuit of Gnosis is a personal one, and it starts with asking deeper questions. If you'd like to explore more about Gnosticism, ancient religions, and the mysteries of consciousness, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell. Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. Do you think the Gnostic worldview holds a key to understanding our modern world? We'd love to hear what you think.